Optima, I need help.
How can I help you, Max?
I have a hard time answering one frequently asked question about duality.
And which question is that?
Students ask me all the time why they need to know about duality. Some of them think it is some advanced theoretical abstraction absolutely useless in practice.
You know, I get this one a lot as well. I think duality being of purely theoretical interest is a big misconception. In fact, it is one of the most practical and frequently used optimization tools.
I sense it is important, but I don't know what exactly to tell the students to convince them they need to know it.
All right, I'll help you out with a few convincing examples. The first example I would mention is an obvious one, as it has to do with Excel solver that the students like to use so much.
I know, they always ask me if they can use Excel instead of Ample. So, what does Excel solver have to do with duality? I thought it was just a primitive toy for amateurs.
Well, do you know what are the limits on the number of variables and constraints in Excel solver?
No idea. Is it, like, 100?
Your guess is right for the constraints, but the limit on the number of variables is 200.
Impressive. Compare it to the models with millions of variables and constraints we can handle with Ample.
I know, right? Anyways, 200 variables and 100 constraints it is.
Now I see where you are headed with this example. Say, if I had a production planning problem with 200 products and 100 resource constraints, the corresponding LP model would be within Excel solver's limits on the size. But if it is the other way around, 100 products and 200 resource constraints, we are in trouble.
If you don't know duality, that is.
Right, anyone aware of duality basics will know that all they have to do to get this job done with Excel solver is just switch to the dual LP.
Precisely. Since the dual will have 200 variables and 100 constraints, we can solve it with Excel solver.
And then we can easily get the solution for the original primal LP from the solution report.
See, duality helps you overcome the limitations of Excel solver, isn't it great?
It is great, makes you feel like a hacker.
But a legal one.
That's right, being smart is not a violation of the software license agreement. Marvelous. I love it.
Let's call it the Excel lover argument for duality.
Deal? Any other arguments as cool as this one?
I've got plenty, some are more clever than others.
What's the second coolest?
Well, the next one is at least as cool as the Excel lover argument. Let's call it the artist's argument for duality.
Why would an artist care about duality? I mean, I am aware that artists have their own dualities, but that has nothing to do with our duality in optimization, does it?
Not that I am aware of, but our artist's argument is not about that. It is about solving LPs graphically.
I see, this type of art even I can do.
Right, but can you solve, say, a 4-variable LP graphically?
If I said I could, you would be the first one to advise me to see a psychiatrist. But I don't have a 4D vision, so, my answer is, no way.
What if I tell you that this 4-variable LP has only 2 constraints?
Dang. I am an idiot. Of course, if you just have 2 constraints, you can solve the dual LP graphically and then easily get the answer for the primal LP based on the optimal solution of the dual.
That's right, we use the complementary slackness to determine the non-basic variables in the primal optimal solution. They will correspond to the basic variables in the dual optimal solution.
Once we set all the non-basic variables to 0, we just need to solve a 2x2 linear system to find an optimal solution of the primal LP. Brilliant! I got a new idea for a t-shirt print.
I guess this would be better than that funny sweater you wore for the fall picnic.
Any more amazing arguments for duality?
Sure, but they are not as straightforward to explain as the first two, so I will just briefly outline them. Some of the aspects I will mention will be covered in more detail later in the course.
Sounds good.
The dual LP typically has a clear and intuitive economic interpretation. It helps to look at the same problem from different angles. In particular, it can be used to determine the marginal utility of the resources used.
I know that the concept of duality is also crucial in performing the sensitivity analysis.
Correct. In practice, it is very important to know how sensitive is the optimal solution to small variations in data, and duality is an extremely important tool in analyzing the sensitivity.
Also, duality is frequently mentioned in the context of optimization algorithms.
This is exactly what the next two items on my list are about. The best simplex-based solvers for LP typically rely on variations of the primal dual simplex method, which takes advantage of the close relationship between the simplex tableaus for the primal and dual LPs.
And of course, duality is used far beyond the linear optimization realm.
Indeed, duality-based methods are commonly used for obtaining tight bounds for hard optimization problems.
And tight bounds are crucial for the performance of exact algorithms as well as for evaluating the quality of approximate solutions.
Yes, obtaining high-quality bounds is one of the most challenging and crucial aspects in designing global optimization algorithms. Sometimes an optimal solution to a hard problem can be relatively easily obtained using some simple common-sense algorithm.
We call such a simple algorithm a heuristic, right?
Precisely. So, finding an optimal solution may not be difficult, but then proving that it is indeed optimal is the tough part.
And that can be done by finding a dual feasible solution with the matching objective value. Once we have that, we can claim optimality of both the primal and dual solutions we obtained for their respective problems.
Yes.
Wonderful. I think I've got plenty of convincing arguments for practicality of duality now.
And in case someone is still not convinced, here is my final argument for today.